What game doesn't have a boss fight? The boss battle has pretty much become a staple of the video game industry since the beginning. A boss fight should be a test of skill to put all you have learned to the test against the toughest foe you've encountered in the level thus far. But sometimes it's downright unfair. There are some bosses that simply have no regard for human life and will have you screaming at your television screen.
God, it's just too hard, I give up!
Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our content and ring that bell to become part of our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are 10 bosses so hard they ruin the game. GALACTUS, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. We're going to be seeing a lot of fighting games on this list, so get prepared. For some reason or another, the developers of fighting games just love to stick some insanely difficult bosses into their games.
Thanks, guys. Real nice.
When we talk about cheat bosses, you have to mention GALACTUS from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He is a gigantic planet-eating being, which honestly would be a difficult boss to defeat, but it's a little too difficult. It's flat out unfair. He takes up pretty much the entire screen, has a non-stop laser beam barrage which is impossible to avoid, and some downright confusing attacks. Your entire screen can often be covered in laser and plasma, or whatever GALACTUS can emit from his fingers.
What is that stuff anyways?
Every time he claps his hands, one of your teammates die. And if this fight wasn't hard enough already, he has the power to use applause as a weapon. To make things even worse, you have to fight 2 metallic puppets before you even get a chance to fight GALACTUS. It's like he's toying with you and loving every second of it. GALACTUS is just a nightmare in every sense of the word. There are so many things we'd rather do than fight this guy. Like watch Fantastic Four 2 Rise of the Silver Surfer. No, wait, maybe not anything. CAPRA Demon, Dark Souls. The Dark Souls series is known for their difficult but fair bosses. The game is all about learning the mechanics and getting better with every attempt to get through the level. Makes sense. You must have a never-give-up attitude if you want to be a Dark Souls master. Sadly, there's one boss who's made plenty of players hang up the controller for good.
That's it, I quit! Hate this!
The CAPRA Demon is one of the most blatantly unfair bosses from the original. Pretty much everything about this battle is done to cheat the player out of a victory. It's like everything you knew about boss fights are just thrown out the window. The developers should honestly be ashamed of the CAPRA Demon's inclusion. Shame. Shame! The second you walk through the fog, the CAPRA Demon and his 2 dogs will attack you instantly. With so many enemies flying at you and so little space to maneuver, one wrong move can be your undoing. Seriously, the area is so small, the camera even glitches sometimes and shows you nothing of your field of view. To make matters worse, the CAPRA Demon comes back as a regular enemy, but luckily with much less health and much more room to maneuver. One tip we have to beat this demon is to use the stairs to your advantage. You can thank us later for that little tidbit of knowledge. Shao Kahn, Mortal Kombat 2. Oh, Shao Kahn. Just the name can send shivers down the spine of both arcade goers and console gamers alike. For decades, fans of the Mortal Kombat series have come to expect a certain level of brutality. But Shao Kahn takes it to a whole nother level. Honestly, the merciless beatings this guy dishes out are out of this world. You better have become a Mortal Kombat master because this guy give boots to butts all day long. Shao Kahn must be a mind reader because it's like he knows all your moves before they even happen. The only weakness he has is when he's taunting you. Cockiness is the downfall of many men, and Shao Kahn is no exception. If you can land a swift combo each time he taunts and avoid some of his deadly attacks, you could defeat this guy. When he laughs about your lack of skill, that's your time to strike and make him eat his words. When a boss is not only unfair, but also laughs at your ability, that's just a low blow to gamers. It's no surprise Shao Kahn is one of the most disliked characters in Mortal Kombat history. He deserves it. Finish him. DEVILJHO, Monster Hunter 3. The Monster Hunter series is arguably one of the most imaginative video game franchises out there today. The monsters you encounter on your journey are both beautiful and terrifying at the same time, which is a difficult thing to get right. Just ask my girlfriend. Like every video game on this list though, there are some unfair boss fights in the series. DEVILJHO from Monster Hunter 3 just loves to take advantage of the things you have no control over. His attacks are so quick that even if you sprint out of the way to avoid them, you'll still get hit. He abuses the lengthy animation of the player, and if you are in his crosshairs, he will pummel you until you have no health left. He's big, fast, and strong, which makes sense considering he can only be encountered in high-rank missions, where he will pose a challenge to even the most veteran of players. A good tip would be to keep your distance, but close-range weapons users won't be able to damage him from afar. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. What makes him even more annoying is that he can be summoned as a backup by some random monster. Luckily, teamwork will be the victor at the end. If you work as a team, you'll be able to handle this behemoth. AZAZEL, Tekken 6. Oh hey, another fighting game. No surprise there. AZAZEL is a giant fire-breathing crystal dragon who's as tall as a screen in Tekken 6. He's absolutely enormous compared to anyone you've fought in the game thus far. He seems a little out of place in the Tekken world, and once you fight him, you'll also agree. He's one of the most unpredictable bosses you'll fight in the game. You never know if he'll unleash a combo or stomp you to your death. Either way, it's bad. He also has different animations for the same attack, which makes it very difficult to react to his moves as quickly as possible.
Just stay still. Gosh.
When you finally land an attack on him, his health bar will barely even move. He's unfair in every sense of the word. AZAZEL is so tall he covers the majority of your viewing angle at any given time, which is just plain annoying. What is this trend of really tough bosses in fighting games that cover the entire screen? AZAZEL is just the perfect example of a fighting boss who just ignores the rules and does what he wants. Sure, that's the road to travel if you want to be a cool rebel, but not if you want to be fair and well-liked boss. GILL, Street Fighter 3, Third Strike. The fighting games just keep on coming, and now Street Fighter makes an appearance on this list. GILL is definitely the most incredibly unfair boss battle in Street Fighter 3, Third Strike. Looking at him will probably make you laugh. Ha ha ha! Oh, so funny. Sure, he's ripped to no extent, but on one side of his body is blue, and the other is red. He has flowing blonde locks and is wearing nothing but a Speedo. Super weird. Sadly, the second you start fighting GILL, you will stop laughing. Ha 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 ha! Oh no. His normal attacks inflict block damage, which already make him super tough. To make matters even worse, his stuns last much longer than yours and his super arts are completely broken. They're very difficult to avoid and cause obscene amounts of damage.
It's unfair. It's not cool.
GILL moves like lightning and hits like thunder. Seriously, he can actually kick 3 times in 1 second. You just blink and it could be the end of your days. His animations are hard to judge as hit punches seemingly come from nowhere. Good luck trying to parry any of his attacks. Most of his attacks hit twice, so that definitely doesn't help either. You're gonna need a lot of practice before you can show GILL who's boss. Death Egg Zone, Sonic 2. You're probably thinking, how in the world is a Sonic game on this list? They're so easy! Well, we would agree with you. Sonic 2 is a pretty short and easy game. Even if you're not speed running it, you can complete the game in under an hour, no problem. However, there's one frustratingly difficult moment that can pretty much ruin your entire experience. There is a sudden spike in difficulty the moment you get to the last level because, well, you have no rings. The game forces you to beat not 1, but 2 bosses with 0 rings.
Oh, the humanity!
Your first challenge is Mecha Sonic, who is not too difficult. Land 8 hits as usual, and you can take him out in a matter of seconds. The second boss is a royal pain. He won't take the usual 8 hits to be destroyed. Oh no, you better be prepared to land 16 hits on the egg-shaped Goliath. Don't even get us started on the hidden spikes on its right hand and the shoddy hit detection. One teeny tiny mistake and you have to start all over again from Mecha Sonic. Yes, that means you have to beat both of these baddies flawlessly. Come on, Sonic 2, why do you have to do us like that? Do 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 do. Great music though. SETH, Street Fighter 4. Well, hello, Street Fighter. Fancy meeting you here a second time. You would think the developers of Street Fighter 3 would learn to tone down their bosses for the next installment, but oh no, you'd be dead wrong. SETH in Street Fighter 4 is just as cheap as GILL. His movement is literally entirely made up of enhanced versions of the best attacks from other characters. Yeah, the developers were too lazy to give him his own moveset, so they just increased the damage on the best moves. Yeah, cause that's fair. He was purposely designed to be as frustrating as possible, which is not cool. SETH has no weaknesses. You seriously can't even name one. How can you beat a boss with 0 weaknesses? It's just not fair! Not fair! Even the most skilled players will be having controller throwing breakdowns after the 20th attempt to take out this beast. On the hardest difficulty, SETH is just overwhelmingly overpowered. OP doesn't even begin to describe this bald-headed behemoth. He has high defense, his attacks do tremendous damage, he teleports around the stage and has no weaknesses. Sounds like a load of fun. Sarcasm! But if you can beat him without swearing at least once, you, my friend, are both a gentleman and a scholar. Our hats off to you. Bed of Chaos, Dark Souls. There was no way we could make a list of bosses so hard they ruined the game without including multiple bosses from the Dark Souls franchise, right? The CAPRA demon is nothing compared to the Bed of Chaos. While veterans said only noobs had trouble with the CAPRA demon, both veterans and noobs alike share a hatred for the Bed of Chaos. See, we can all get along. Like we mentioned before, every challenge in Dark Souls is doable on the first try if you prepare hard enough for it, but not this one. Each time you destroy one of the 2 anchors placed on either side of the Bed of Chaos, the floor will crumble away. This happens with absolutely no indication and will swallow you whole if you don't react with expert timing. It's a really stupid game mechanic, and while From Software loves to make hard bosses, this is way too much. Can you tell we're still bitter about this one? To make matters worse, you can be knocked into one of these endless pits with one swing of the Bed of Chaos's long branch-like limbs. This amount of randomness and spontaneity will pretty much guarantee you a death on your first try, no matter how skilled and prepared you are. Just one search of this boss on Google and you'll be flooded with all the hate. There's a lot of hate. PARACE Lucia, Arcana Heart 3. We finally arrived at the cheapest and most game-ruining boss on this list. PARACE is the final boss of Arcana Heart 3, and unfair isn't enough to describe her. Her attacks are complete overkill, and she also has many other advantages over you. She's as fast as the Peregrine Falcon and can teleport around the arena in a millisecond. She can also combo your health away and even regenerates health throughout the fight. You better take your shots when you can get them, or else her health will go right back to 100%. If all we mentioned wasn't already enough, she also has overpowered special moves. PARACE is pretty much checking all the boxes that make a boss out of this world difficult. The interesting thing about this final boss is the game knows she's completely unfair. The game actually helps you by slightly decreasing her health every time you lose. This means sooner or later you will defeat her, but will be a long and painful road. The health reduction is so slight, you'll still be wasting hours of your time on PARACE. Grab a Mountain Dew and a bag of Doritos because this is gonna require all your full concentration. It really sucks when one boss can ruin a whole game because it's impossible to beat. Do you agree with this list? Do you know any other bosses that are so difficult they completely ruin the game? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with our playlist. Thanks for watching.